Gi-hun shouldn't be alive. From the first deadly challenge to the final confrontation, death was always one step behind him. In this breakdown, we're examining the 8 moments when player 456 was literally seconds from death, and what saved him each time. The players had no idea what they signed up for. A children's game with a deadly twist. The rules were simple. Move after red light, and you die. When the first player gets shot, everyone freezes in shock. But then panic spreads like wildfire. Players scramble for the exit as bullets tear through bodies around them. And what does Gi-hun do? He stands there, paralyzed by fear. When he finally breaks into a sprint, disaster strikes. His foot catches, sending him tumbling forward. The giant doll begins to turn. The motion sensors lock onto his movement. The snipers take aim. This should have been the end for player 456. Game over in round 1. But then, a hand reaches out. Ali, player 199. With impossible strength, he catches Gi-hun mid-fall, holding him perfectly still as the doll's head completes its rotation. If Ali had been 1 second slower, or an inch farther away, Gi-hun would have been the game's first casualty. This moment isn't just luck. It's the first sign that Gi-hun's survival will depend on connections with others. After the traumatic first game, tensions explode in the dormitory. With minimal food and the realization that fewer players means more prize money, Deok-soo and his gang decide to fin the competition themselves. When the lights cut out, the room descends into chaos. Screens echo as improvised weapons claim lives in the darkness. Gi-hun, unprepared and weaponless, becomes an instant target. Player 413 swings a metal pipe directly at his skull, a blow that would have crushed his head instantly. Death comes at him from the front. But then Sang-woo yanks him backward while Ali blocks the attack. Before Gi-hun can even process what happened, player 113 charges from behind with a sharpened piece of metal. Death now comes from behind. This time it's Sang-woo who tackles the attacker, sending both crashing to the floor. In the span of 5 seconds, Gi-hun escaped death twice, saved both times by allies he barely knew. The violence only stops when Il-nam climbs to the highest bed and begs for mercy, a moment we'd later understand had much deeper significance. By Game 3, Gi-hun's team looks like a lost cause. An elderly man, 2 women, and several average-build players against a team of powerhouses led by Deok-soo. The moment the whistle blows, they're yanked forward. Their feet scrape against the platform as they're dragged inch by inch toward a fatal drop. The rope burns through their hands. Their arms scream in pain. The edge looms just steps away. 3 more seconds, and gravity would claim them all. Then Il-nam speaks up. "I've played this before." Sang-woo makes the desperate call. 3 steps forward on my mark. It seems suicidal. Moving forward when you're already losing, but with no other options, they commit. The opposing team, caught off guard by the sudden slack, tumbles forward, losing their footing and their advantage. In that brief window of confusion, Gi-hun's team pulls with everything they have. The tables turn. Their opponents fall. And once again, death passes Gi-hun by with only seconds to spare. Not all of Gi-hun's brushes with death were physical. Some cut deeper. When paired with Il-nam for the marble game, Gi-hun thinks he's caught a break. The old man's failing memory should make him an easy opponent. But as the game progresses, Gi-hun watches his marble count dwindle. Il-nam guesses correctly again and again. How many marbles in my hand? Left. Correct again. Gi-hun's pile shrinks to almost nothing. 1 more loss, and he'll be eliminated. Death is now just 1 wrong guess away. With his back against the wall, Gi-hun makes a choice that will haunt him. He exploits the old man's dementia, lying about the rules and stealing his marbles. Victory seems assured until Il-nam stops and says those devastating words. "We're Gandu, aren't we? Ganbu always share everything." In that moment, Gi-hun realizes the terrible truth. Il-nam knew. He was aware of the deception all along, and yet he hands over his last marble. Gi-hun lives, But something inside him dies in that alleyway. Most players don't realize it, but Gi-hun's survival on the glass bridge wasn't just about going last. It was about the players before him. With each step forward, the odds of choosing correctly between tempered and regular glass became better. But time was running out. When his turn comes, there are only seconds left on the clock. The bridge stretches before him, with gaps where players before him have fallen to their deaths. He jumps onto the first panel. Safe. Second panel. Safe again. Third panel. He hesitates. Time is ticking down. If he doesn't clear the bridge before the timer hits 0, all remaining players die. He makes his choice and leaps. The glass holds. Gi-hun races across the remaining panels, diving onto the platform, just as the final untempered glass panels shatter behind him. If he had been given any number other than 16, if he had hesitated for even 2 more seconds, if the player ahead of him had taken 1 more step, Gi-hun would have joined the bodies at the bottom of the pit. The Squid Game itself becomes Gi-hun's closest brush with death yet. Just 2 players remain, himself and Sang-woo. Childhood friends, now forced to fight to the death. Early in the match, Sang-woo drives a knife into Gi-hun's leg. Blood soaks through his tracksuit as he stumbles backward. Sensing weakness, Sang-woo charges, knife raised for a killing blow to the throat. The blade arcs downward. In a desperate move, Gi-hun catches the knife with his bare hand. The blade slices into his palm, but he doesn't let go. Blood streams between his fingers as the two struggle. With adrenaline surging, Gi-hun throws Sang-woo off balance. The knife clatters to the ground. Gi-hun seizes it and stands over his fallen friend. He could end it right there. Instead, he drops the weapon and walks toward the finish line, ready to invoke the rule that would let them both leave. But Sang-woo has other plans. As Gi-hun's back is turned, Sang-woo grabs the knife and lunges one final time. At the last possible second, Gi-hun turns. The blade misses his vital organs by inches as Sang-woo changes direction, plunging the knife into his own neck instead. "I'm sorry," he whispers, collapsing into Gi-hun's arms. Gi-hun survives, not by winning, but because his opponent chose to lose. After winning the game, Gi-hun's closest brush with death comes from his own decisions. Traumatized and unable to spend his blood money, he becomes obsessed with exposing the organization. This leads him back to the recruiter who first lured him into the game. In a dimly lit room, they face each other across a table. Between them sits a revolver with a single bullet in the chamber. "It's called Russian roulette," the recruiter explains with a smirk. "We take turns." Gi-hun's hands shake as he lifts the gun. He places it against his temple and pulls the trigger. Click. Empty chamber. The recruiter takes his turn. Click. Nothing. With each round, the probability of death increases. Gi-hun's heart pounds as he raises the gun for a second time. His finger tightens on the trigger. Click. Safe again. The recruiter hesitates, sweat beading on his forehead. But instead of taking his turn, he suddenly turns the gun on Gi-hun. "This isn't how the game works," Gi-hun says, staring down the barrel. "I make the rules now," the recruiter replies, finger tightening on the trigger. In that moment, Gi-hun lunges across the table, knocking the gun aside as it fires. The bullet grazes his ear, missing his brain by centimeters. In the struggle that follows, the gun goes off again. This time, the recruiter drops to the floor. Gi-hun stands over the body, blood trickling from his ear, realizing how close he came to death by his own choice. A year after winning, Gi-hun spots someone playing Dokji with a game recruiter in a subway station. He follows them, obtaining the business card with the now familiar circle, triangle, and square. When he calls the number, a voice answers. "Player 456, your invitation to the game still stands." Gi-hun boards a flight to visit his daughter, but at the last moment, he makes a decision. He turns back, determined to end the games forever. What he doesn't know is that the organization has been watching. As he walks through the terminal, a sniper takes position in the rafters above. The crosshairs settle on the back of his head. The front man receives a call on his phone. Should we eliminate him? The front man pauses, watching Gi-hun's determined stride on the security monitor. No, he finally says. Let him come. He's already dead. He just doesn't know it yet. The sniper lowers his weapon. Gi-hun walks away, unaware that death was literally inches from his skull. For now, player 456 lives. But as he steps back into the game, the question isn't if he'll face death again. It's how many more times he can possibly cheat it.